Hi, everybody. Welcome to page 197. I want to check if my voice is clear. You can hear my voice. Could you send me a response, please, from Slack? Hi, Edris. Okay. Recently, I shifted my house and there was an internet connection problem. I called the people. They will corrected it 3 times, maybe. If during lesson, you find any problem, like my voice is being cut, please let me know about that, okay? So I will find an alternative solution for this. This is page 197. My name is Süleyman. Sorry, my name is Selim. I have 2 names. I'm using mostly Selim. Today, we are starting our first lesson about Java, and we will start with introduction. Today is 23rd of October, and for most of you, today is the first day of a new journey. Maybe at the end of 6 months, you will have your new jobs, your new career. I hope we will do it all together. We will achieve this, and then you will be happy at the end of the lesson. Nowadays, IT sector is in very improvement, and people they are spending their time to learn things about IT and especially about development and testing. This is actually good choice that you have made, and you are improving yourself in that field. Okay, let me start my presentation. Before the lesson, my dear friends, I want to remind you that this is a boot camp, and boot camp has a different structure than regular tuitions. In normal tuitions, you have a pace, but in boot camps, the pace, the learning speed is quite heavy, and the topics are also very much concentrated. Therefore, I want to start with some reminders. Let us remember some points which are very important at the beginning, and then later on, we can continue with the right steps. If we take correct steps at correct time, we will achieve wonders. Human being is very powerful. Don't forget that. The first thing that I want to remind you is about attendance. We have very intensive topics. In this 6 months period, you will learn so many tools and so many technologies. And you have to go step by step. If you leave live sessions, most of the time, the topics are like building blocks. If you understand one topic well, you can build next topic on top of it. If you miss that step, it is going to be hard for you to settle the next step. So please be very much sensitive on attending live sessions, okay? And during the lesson, if you have any problems, you will not be able to ask me questions through Zoom chats. You are supposed to use Slack channel. We are using Slack channel for questions. If you have questions, please ask me, or if you have anything to contribute during lesson, please write those in Slack channel. The first thing that I want to remind you, which is very important, is attendance. Why I stay so much on it? Because we have experience about this. When students, they start, they start thinking like this. Okay, there are recordings. I can follow the lesson through recordings. They fall their concentration. They lose their concentration. And then most of them have tendency to give up before boot camp. Please don't fall that mistake. Attend lessons daily on time, and especially to the live sessions. Live sessions are very much productive than just listening recordings. The second thing after live sessions is listen instructor very carefully throughout the lesson and be active listener. What does active listener means? Active listener has some characteristics. For example, active listener, first of all, attends live lessons, live sections. Second, Active listener listens instructor very carefully. There are some distractions like your cell phone or maybe your family members around you. They will distract your attention during the lesson. We should try to avoid those distractions as much as possible. We should be fully concentrated on the lesson while the instructor is teaching what he is saying. And we should ask ourselves, what is the main point that instructor is trying to tell me? Active listener asks such questions in his mind. And we should keep a piece of paper next to us. We should write down the most important parts of the lecture. We should write very small. No need to write whole sentences or everything, but we should write at least a small reminders for us. Because at the end of the lesson, we need to remind those things for ourselves. Active listeners also ask questions. When you couldn't understand something, you should ask me questions using Slack, as I have explained to you. If you don't understand the question while you are listening, you will ask me once and I will explain it. If you couldn't understand still, you will ask me again and I will reply it back. But the third time, I will not explain it again. I will teach you. You will not understand. You will ask me, I will teach you again, second time. If you don't understand, you will ask me, I will teach you the third time. But we are here a group of people. For some people, those who understand that topic already, it will getting bored. They will fold their attention. Therefore, we are not going to teach more than 3 times. But since we are learning Java, for some of us, this is the first time that we are introduced with the Java, it is quite normal that you cannot understand the topic up to 4 repetitions maybe. We have alternative solutions for this. First, after the lesson, you can rewatch the recordings. The second, you have friends and you will have groups among your friends. You can discuss that topic with your friends, which is very effective way of learning. Third, you will have mentoring groups. I will explain these few minutes later. In mentoring groups, you can discuss this issue with your group members. They can help you. Fourth, you will have small study groups. In small study groups, you will discuss the topics in details when you couldn't understand them. And fifth, there will be practice sessions. In those practice sessions, we will practice the topics that we have covered during the lesson. Therefore, you have quite a number of possibilities to fill this gap. If you couldn't understand something, please never hesitate to ask me questions. But after 3 times, I will not continue answering or I will not continue to repeating myself. It is getting bored. Asking questions should have some regulations. Sometimes we have friends from different backgrounds. You might feel like asking questions which is not related with the topic that we are studying at the moment. If I am teaching you if conditions, it is not wise to ask me something related with for loops, for example. If you ask me something related with loops while I am teaching you if conditions, I will not reply this question because I am not supposed to confuse our friends' attention. I shall not put them in confusion. Java is like an ocean. It is very deep, and the market is required to know some important parts. We have selected as Tech Pro those most important parts and those most important parts. Let me repeat again. I will teach those ones, and 6 months we have so many things to study. If you ask me, if you try to pull me to details which are not going to be asked in interviews and which are not going to be used in market, most probably, I will not go deep in these parts because we are having so many topics to cover, and Java can be studied in 2 years. You can spend your time to study Java for 2 years, no problem about it. I don't recommend you to go very deep in Java during boot camp. Please listen to me very carefully. There are important parts that you need to know about Java, and they are enough to put you into job or pass you during job interviews. Focus on those parts as first. When you get into market, when you start working in the market, you can go deep in those requirements. For example, every company has a different approach to handle a problem. If you need to improve yourself in loops, go deep in loops. But if you don't, why you spend your most precious time with this effort? I think I could explain it. I want to remind the second part, especially about asking questions, because this is causing us to lose time. First, ask me questions. As you don't understand, never hesitate. This is the most normal thing in the world. If you are learning something new, it is impossible to understand at the first time. You will not understand. And please ask me questions. Second, I will not reply after 3 repetitions because it is getting bored. Third, don't ask me questions which are not related with the current topic. Let us focus on what we are discussing at that moment and put all our concentration on this concept. And last, about asking questions, don't ask me about very details, okay? You can spend your time to get those details after you get into market. This is my recommendation, but you can Google it. If you have time, you can, of course, improve your talents. This is something good. As I said, we should review our daily studies. Like when I teach you something, when I teach you something, you should write important parts of what I have teach you first. And if I am writing codes, you should write codes simultaneously with me at the end of the lesson. You should close the solution of those codes, and you should repeat if you can write those codes by your own. If you can do that, you understand the lesson. This is a good way of making review after the lesson. And you should do that review after every time, after every lesson, every live session. For example, when you complete today, let's say we have talked about if conditions. If we discuss today if conditions, you should revise your notes that you take during the instruction, and you should retype those codes that we have written, we have typed during the live session by your own. You shall not just copy them. You should close the my codes and you should type them by your own. This is a very good way of reviewing the lesson in daily basis. Okay, and do your assignments. Our technical support is going to upload a Java question booklet in your LMS. LMS is Learning Management System. You will use LMS very actively during our lessons. Please, if you don't know how to use LMS, in the shortest time, there are recordings about how to use LMS in your LMS accounts. You can reach there through your mail addresses. You get a mail informing you how to use LMS. Please solve this problem in the sooner time. And LMS is going to be your, let's say, best friend during our boot camp. In LMS, you will have your assignments as a question booklet of Java. And after I finish a topic, I will not tell you, these are your homeworks, go and solve the questions between this and this. No, you are all grown people. You all know your responsibilities. It is your responsibility. When I finish if conditions, you should go to Java question booklet and solve all the questions, sample questions in this booklet. If we take steps as they are supposed to be, this 6 months will change you into somebody else, believe me, because we are going to have very intensive 6 months and you will enjoy this 6 months. But when you skip some steps, things are getting harder and you will start getting tired. You will start losing your concentration and you might feel like giving up or something. Okay, please, at the beginning, make sure that we are taking steps regularly and as they are required. Attend live sessions, try to be active listeners, write some notes, write the codes together with me simultaneously, do your daily reviews. After I've finished 3 hours of session, you should get a little bit rest, maybe half an hour, and then pass through your notes. Try to retype codes that we type together by yourself. And if there are assignments about that, there are assignments about every topic. So solve those assignments, please. In education, there is a terminology like teach more and learn more. I find this very interesting. Why I find this very interesting? Because there is an educational study done. There were some students who couldn't understand a topic. They are assigned with those students who understood the topic, and then they gather, they teach each other. I read this in an article. I am trying to summarize that article for you. At the end, the students' achievement is measured. Those people who couldn't learn from teacher, they understand better from their friends. This is peer tutoring, and it is proven that it is very effective learning way of something, peer-to-peer learning. So those people, they benefit very much from their peers, even more than their tutors, their teachers. But what is surprising is this: those students who teach to the others, they learn even more than those ones who are trying to learn. It is surprising to me. I don't know if you get the concept. This is a chart I want to show you with you. I want to share with you. When you listen a lecture, your learning is 5%. But if you teach what you have studied, what you have learned to other people, your learning is 90%. Practicing is 75%. So I want to remind you one more time. Doing assignments, daily reviews, they are very essential. And if you find chance to teach your friends, never miss this chance. We are going to group you in those groups. Help each other, guys. Those people who are using those groups effectively, they are taking better distances as bootcamp continues. 6th reminder that I want to share with you is bootcamps needs to study hard. Success has a formula. Success is equal to instruction plus self-study. Instruction part is our responsibility. As Tech Pro teachers, we have meetings, we search the market and requirements of the market. After every batch, we have certain time with other instructors and we decide, are there any things that we need to improve our syllabus? We have proven methods and we have proven syllabus because we see from our students, our graduates, that we are taking a good steps and we are going in the correct way. So our instruction is quite satisfactory. I can assure you, sit back and relax. Trust us in instruction part. You will see instructors of Tech Pro are quite talented and they are well prepared. But success just with instruction cannot be achieved. There is also second step, self-study. And in this part, actually, you will have some time management skills. What I mean, you need to attend daily lessons, and also you need to make your daily revisions. You need to do your assignments, and they will all take time. And you are having some other responsibilities in the life, I know that. Therefore, you need to concentrate on this part especially. And this part, self-study part, is more effective, more powerful than just instruction part. Okay? So everything is like success. The most strong part that you are spending time should be self-study part. I think I could make myself clear. 7, the mentoring is very essential. In Tech Pro, we have mentoring program. What is mentoring? Maybe second week or maybe third week of our program, you are going to be grouped into smaller study groups. In smaller study groups, we are calling them as mentoring groups. You will have your mentors. They know how a tester or developer should think when he faces a problem. So they will teach you the way of developer or the way of tester, how you should act, how you should respond to certain problems. They have interview questions. They have interview questions based on countries. For example, if you are going to have interview from Germany, they have interview questions, common interview questions for Germany. They will prepare you for interviews related, special for Germany. If you are going to have interview questions in United States, they have common questions appearing in United States. So they will prepare you to the interviews and they will help you throughout this program. When you face some problems, they will always support you. They will never allow you to stay back, stay behind, because we are human. We have problems in the life. We need support. Your mentors are going to be your best friends throughout this course, this program, and the small study group, the friendship that you form together is going to take you to the very high levels. When somebody loses his concentration, other friends will support him. They will raise him up. They will not let him fall behind. Mentoring sessions, please pay them importance. They are really important, and you will learn how to behave. You will mimic or you will prototype the meetings that you are having in company in the mentoring sessions as well. They are very important. Please don't miss mentoring sessions. 8, we are not living in a heaven. We are living in the world. Therefore, there are problems. Sometimes when you face like something is disturbing you, you should contact with this number and you should explain what is disturbing you or what is the problem, what you don't like or what you want to change. Your suggestions are important, and you can record this number somewhere. You can see from recordings as well. Whenever you have some problems, you can reach us from this number. Of course, there are some things that we can change, but there are also some other things that we cannot help. Like if a teacher is sick and he cannot attend a lesson for, let's say, 2 weeks, we will substitute another teacher for this case. And you should not insist like, I want my teacher back. I don't care if he's sick. This is impossible. And maybe he's corona and he became very sick. He cannot speak well or whatever. In the life, there are problems. If they are reasonable requests from you, we are paying attention to your request, and we will try to make sure that you are happy throughout the boot camp. We should try to be positive. There will be problems in any way. We are very sure about that. Try to be look positive side of the life, not negative side. There are some people, they are negativistics. They always look life from negative part of the world. By this approach, it is difficult for you to reach your targets. This is my philosophy. When you have some technical problems, please reach out, Mr. Abdullah. Sorry for this mistake. He is a very talented person actually in technical support. You can write with add tag technical support in LMS. If you look your from Slack, if you look your Slack channel on the left bar, you will see technical support. I think you have seen it now. If you click on technical support part, you will write there anything for technical issues. If you couldn't install something, or if you have some technical problems, they will help you. Number 10, make sure your applications are up and running before every class. Sorry. Suppose your class is starting at 10. If you come to the class at 9:59 and open your computer, there can be problems. For example, you cannot maybe start IntelliJ. Normally, it was working 1 day ago, but for the time being, it is very usual. It happens a lot. But for the time being, it may not work. Or maybe Slack, you might have some problems. Or in LMS system, you might have some problems. But if you start your computer and your applications half an hour ago, even if you have some problems, you can communicate with our technical support. They will help you and you will not miss the session. If you do this just before the lesson starts, you will most probably lose first minutes of the lesson, which may cause you to miss remaining part. It might be difficult maybe to catch following of the lesson. To avoid this, I think it is understood and no need for me to repeat again. To avoid these problems, at least half an hour ago, try to open your computer and make IntelliJ is working, Slack is okay, and everything is fine. Then start the lesson, wait for the lesson. Okay, by this way, you will not miss any of the lessons. In IT company, we do not use WhatsApp or we do not use direct messages. They are your privacy. They are your private way of getting in touch. So in the companies, you never use direct messages. You never use WhatsApp messages, okay? In companies, in IT world, we use emails to communicate with each other, and we use Slack messages to communicate with each other. A normal IT guy, when he wake up and he start working, the first thing he does after he open his computer and he is ready to start, first thing he does is to check his email. He check his inbox if there are any related issues with himself. So if there are any maybe new responsibilities assigned to me, or if I am supposed to reply anything, maybe any report or something, I check my emails first. And then again, in IT world, Slack messages, not WhatsApp messages, are used. I check my Slack channel and I reply if there are any messages related with me in my company, in my Slack messages. If there are any important issues, I pass through those. Maybe I spend half an hour to read my emails and read my Slack messages, and then I start working. This is normal flow of IT world. So you should do the same habits. Never ask if something happens. Maybe a teacher gets sick and that day's instruction will be canceled, will be postponed to another time. You will have in your Slack channel announcement related with that problem. Nobody will call you through your phone. Nobody will send you direct messages. This is your responsibility to check your Slack messages at least once in a day. Also, we will send you an email notifying about if something happens. Okay. By the meantime, I'm passing your messages. There are some people writing to me messages. Let me reply them first. We have so many friends, technical friends, teacher assistants. They are all here helping us. And typing. I think we definitely need to have extra screen. What is your? Okay, Hassan Basri. This technical issue, my friends, they will give you suggestion. Okay, no need to take everyone's attention, Mr. Hassan Basri. You're asking about extra screen, and I have very experienced friends with me. They will reply back to you. Definitely, you will need an extra screen if you have one. Okay. My name, Ms. Daria, my name is Selim. Since you are Turkish, you will understand, I think. No need to spell it. Okay. We are talking about 11. Reminder, check your email and Slack messages. Okay. 12, I have already mentioned Slack channel for several times. We have a recording about how to use Slack in your learning management system, which is LMS. Please watch that recording. Learn how to use Slack efficiently, because especially tomorrow's section, we will start typing codes. And at the first time, for the new starters, we will have so many problems, most probably. You will need to take screenshots of the whole screen and share with the Slack. Our friends will help you to solve this problem. So you need to learn how to use Slack till tomorrow, okay? Please watch that recording in your LMS, Learning Management System, and then be ready to use, make some practices maybe, and then be ready to use your Slack efficiently, because I need your contribution during the lesson. I need your feedbacks. You need to help me. Hassan Basri, Mr. Hassan Basri, thank you for your comments. You're attending the lesson, like in free channel. There are other friends. I don't want to mention your names all. It is important to be active while listening, not just writing some notes and writing codes, but at the same time, you should reply using Slack. For example, okay, I understand. Could you repeat again? When your friend make a comment, give him some emojis like thumbs up or smiling face. This is going to be supportive action that you are doing to your friend. He will feel very well and he will concentrate on the lesson. And when you get such responses also, it will be very positive action for you. Please use Slack effectively. Write me some comments and answer questions. Okay. I will skip about bookmark issue, because you can bookmark LMS to your browser. You can search Google for that. Since you will use LMS, Learning Management System, so often, instead of typing everything, exactly, Mr. Gökhan, instead of typing there the full web page, you can just click on that bookmark and LMS will be open, so you will save time. How you can reach recordings of the lesson? They are uploaded to the LMS again. There is a recording about how to use LMS. Also, you're supposed to watch that video. When you pass through how to access your record, there you will see like pre-class materials. Before class starts in your learning management system, there are some documents. They will make your brain ready to understand new topic. You can pass through those parts and you can get some brief idea about what you are going to learn that day. It will help your understanding. Pre-class materials are there, and also recordings are on LMS. There are question booklets in the LMS. There are recordings of small study groups on LMS. There are so many information that will be very much useful for you on LMS channel. And your timetable is also there. You can pass through your timetable. You can understand when the lesson is starting, or if there is lesson today or there is no lesson today. For example, some of you are asking me how many hours of tuition are there going to be today. It is on LMS. There are 2 sessions for today. Okay, we will follow the timetable on LMS. If there are some public holidays, then you will see that that day there is no lesson on LMS. Okay, timetable of the LMS. Watch the recording, please. You will understand what I am trying to tell. And those recordings are quite beneficial and very much explaining about the things. Okay, the hard part is starting. First, we will start about what is a programming language? Are you ready to start after reminders? Can I get some feedback maybe? Yes, Mr. Mustafa and Miss Sarah. Okay, we are ready to learn. We are going to learn Java, but let us have a look. What is a programming language? Thank you, guys. Please be active like this. I feel the energy that you vibrate the wires. I feel that energy. You are great. Wow. Okay. Active contributors. Nothing better than that. Okay. What is programming language? Programming language is just like an ordinary language that we use in our daily life. Okay. For example, in our daily life, I call my friend, come here. Brain of my friend give meaning to that sentence. It extracts meaning of that sentence, and then my friend start to act. This is the flow of communication in daily life. I said a sentence, brain of my friend extract the meaning of this sentence, and then start action. The same flow happens in computer programming language. A developer types codes, and then those codes are, they have a meaning, but how the computer understands meaning of this code? It uses development kit. Your computer has a development kit which extracts the meaning of these codes. And then your computer start action. Write the codes. Development kit is like a brain of a human. It gives meaning to those codes, understand what those codes mean, and then start action. If I write wrong codes, if my codes are not correct, development kit cannot understand what I mean. Therefore, computer will give error. It will not operate. It will not do the action that I want that computer to perform. Normally, computer doesn't know English. For example, when I type a code, let me use my Zoom. Hold on. Okay. For example, I write here a very simple code. So we are writing our first hello world. Okay. This is a very simple code in Java. Okay. But this code has some sentences in it. Some letters, some symbols, correct? And maybe some numbers in it. How the computer will understand meaning of this sentence? Computer will do something called as compile action. Compile. What compile means? Java will convert this code. He does not understand from letters. He cannot read letters actually, but computer operates with electricity. We convert these letters. Your development kit will take that letters, okay, and it will convert them into zeros and ones. Let's assume that maybe something like this, okay? Now they are converted to zeros and ones. Why we are converting them to zero and ones? Zero means for computer, there is no electricity. Computer know what does it mean that there's no electricity. And one means there is electricity. So computer will understand that there is no electricity, there is electricity. This is the thing that computer can understand. So your computer will understand what you mean after this compile operation. What is compile operation? Compile operation is to convert letters, numbers, words into zeros, combination of zeros and ones. Do you remember there was a famous movie called as Matrix? At the beginning of that movie, there were lots of thousands of zeros and ones. They are falling down the screen. If you remember that image, it strikes me. So I want to share with you. This is actually a compile operation. Binary codes. They are called as binary codes. How, I want to repeat, how development kits give meaning to letters, numbers, and symbols. It converts them into ones and zeros. So many ones and so many zeros. And this operation is called as compile operation. I think this part is understood. My kid asked me 3 days ago, Father, he said, computer doesn't know how to read. How he understands when we write something on it? How he listens us? I tried to explain him what is compile operation. He's young, actually, I couldn't explain him very well. I want to give you how we can convert 47 to zeros and ones. What is compile operation is happening for maybe when I wanted to convert 47 to zeros and ones, binary codes. The thing is not that difficult. We always divide by 2 and keep the remainder. When I divide 47 by 2, result is 23. So I will take that 23 to the next line, okay? But what is important for me is the remainder. When I do this division operation, 47 is not divisible by 2. It will give you remainder of 1. The result is 23. I will keep dividing by 2. So I will divide 23 by 2. The result is 11. I will take it to the next line, okay? And remainder of this division operation is again 1. The result, 11, will be divided by 2. Result is 5. Remainder is 1. I will keep it. I will keep dividing by 2. 5 divided by 2. Result is 2. I take 2 to the next line. Remainder is 1. I think you got the idea. 2 divided by 2 is result is 1. Remainder is 0. It is divisible by 2. I will not stop dividing by 1. I will continue till I get 0. When I reach 0, I will stop dividing by 2. 1 divided by 2, 1 is not divisible by 2. The result is 0. And remainder is going to be 1. After I do this operation, I will start writing remainders from bottom to the top. So the order is going to be like this: 1 first, and a 0, 1, 1, 1, 1. This part, my dear friends, is not very important. What is important here is not to be able to do this operation. The important thing here, computer understand when I type something on the screen by compiling what I have written on the screen. Compile operation means, for example, when it is given a 47, it will keep dividing by 2 and then write remainders. Computer, this will be like a code to computer. There is electricity, there is no electricity, there is electricity, there is electricity, there is electricity, and there is electricity. When computer reach that code, he will take this as 47. Okay, for numbers, it is easy and we understand, I think. Is there anything you want to ask me? Will it be possible to make the screen? I think you write this before, Mysteria. Now it's okay, right? Okay. Okay. So responses are good. People understand. My friends are understood. So far, so good. We continue. What about if I am given? Yeah, it is like electricity circuit, isn't it? I find this very similar to those people shipmen, they communicate with each other through using flash of lights. They flash their lights on, off, on, off. It is Morse alphabet, right? If I'm not mistaken. They communicate with each other through using Morse alphabet. I find this very resembling to that one. 101001. Yeah, mathematics teachers find this very easy. You're definitely right. Mathematics teachers, they see life as mathematics. Okay, now I want to think about how can I convert a letter, which is A, into zeros and ones. I cannot divide A by 2. This is meaningless. Or if we are given a question mark, how can I divide question mark by 2 and then convert it into zeros and ones? Okay. Java assigns numerical values for every letter and for every symbol. For example, for asterisk, there is a numerical value assigned to it. For question mark, there is a numerical value assigned to it. And for every letter, capital A or lower letter A, they all have some values, numerical values assigned to them. And we are calling them, those numerical values, as ASCII values. If you search for Google, you can find ASCII values of letters and symbols. For capital letter A, ASCII value is, they have a number value. Yes, you are right, actually. For capital letter A, ASCII value is 65. So if I want to type A on the console, I will keep dividing. If I want to compile A, so that my computer will understand that I type capital letter A, I need to write my computer to this piece of code. How I achieve that piece of code? I do compile operation for 65. Divide 65 by 2, and then keep writing remainders. It will be 62. Remainder will be 1. 62 divided by 1, 16. Remainder is 0. 16 divided by 2, 8. Remainder is 0. So on and so on. At the end, 2 divided by 2, remainder is 0. 2 divided by 1, remainder will be 1. So I will start writing them. I pass this part a little bit fast because I think that it is understood. So my dear friends, I should start writing them from bottom to the top, like this order, and I will convert A into this. So if you see this code in binary, it means capital letter A in computer. Your computer will understand that I typed capital letter A. Okay, I think I can go to next slide. There are some friends, they are writing me notes from WhatsApp chat. I cannot reply those questions because it is too much time consuming. Now I click on something. Hold on. Let me cancel it out. Sorry guys, something happened. This is why we are not supposed to check Zoom chats. Hold on, guys. Okay. Okay. Now you see my screen, don't you? Are we all good? Yes, okay. Okay, guys, if you have questions, please ask me Slack channel. I won't be able to check Zoom chats. because there are some other tools that I am using while I'm teaching, and they are like a few minutes ago it happened. Sometimes it is hard to manage all those tools at the same time. So I kindly request you to use Slack channel to write questions for me. Okay, you can see all numbers here. These are normal decimal numbers. For example, number 22, when you compile it, you will get this value, 10110. If you have 63 and you convert it into zeros and ones, you will get that value, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and 1, all ones, correct? Nice one. Okay, and we said that for every symbols, there is also ASCII value. For example, if I write less than sign on the console, if I want to write less than sign on the console, this is 60 actually. And that one, if you convert it, it will be this value. The binary of less than symbol is this one. What is important for us, in my opinion, not to memorize what is binary, what is decimal equivalence of capital letter A or letters or symbols. What is important here is to understand the logic. Okay, try to understand the logic. When I type capital letter A, it is 65, like we have did. Okay, good question is coming from Miss Saloon. How can the computer tell if when you say it's 60, is it less than or a number 60? Actually, while we are writing something on the computer, we will learn it a few minutes later, maybe tomorrow. We will type what we are writing. We are writing a character, for example, we tell to the computer, or we are writing a decimal number, we are telling to the computer. If we say that we are typing a decimal number, maybe we are typing integer, he will not take this as A definitely. Okay? Computer is very clever. When we are typing codes, we give some hint to the computer. If we are typing a character or we are typing a decimal number, computer understands from this point of view what he should take this as. Okay. I think Ms. Ahmed, the question is understood, right? Ms. Ahmed asked this very same question. So I continue. Okay. People in free channel, they are not asking much questions. I wonder why. Please be active contributors. Okay. If you keep what is ASCII value for capital letter A, which is 65, and what is ASCII value for last letter, which is Z, you can find out what is ASCII value for B, C, D by using simple logic. B is second, C is third. And like this, you can understand maybe all other letters. Do we supposed to memorize what is ASCII value for capital A and Z? No, you don't need to at all. The important thing here, I want to repeat, to understand logic. When we understand logic, we will know what we are doing. No, none of them. I don't know, Miss or Mrs. Uranus. We are not supposed to memorize any of them. Okay, you will never need to memorize those. Why I am telling you and why I'm spending time on it, I want you to, okay, Miss Uranus, I want you to think like computer. And if we understand when we type codes, what is happening behind the screens, we will grab the what we are doing in our hands. We will have better understanding, and it will be easy to follow next steps. This is why I'm spending time on it. Otherwise, you are not going to use them. There are methods we will learn how you can get ASCII value of a symbol or a letter. Very simple methods we can use we will never memorize them. Okay? By time, we will get used to it. And smaller letter A is 97. Smaller letter Z is 122. My friends, I said to memorize them is not important, but to be aware of one fact is very important. Please listen me carefully. If I ask you, before I teach you that, before I show you this ASCII table, if I tell you and ask your opinion, do you think that ASCII value of A is greater or, sorry, lower letter A or capital letter A? Which one has greater ASCII value? If I would ask your opinion, I think most of you would say that capital letter A has greater ASCII value, most probably, because this is the thing that I faced in most of the time. If I have a logical operator, like A is greater than or less than, something like that, I might need to know that which one has greater ASCII value. My dear friends, lowercase letters has greater ASCII value than uppercase letters. Okay, keep this in mind. What do you think, which one has greater ASCII value? Capital letter Z or lower letter A? Which one has greater ASCII value? Actually, it is easy to cheat from the table, but without looking table, maybe if you can make comment on it. Of course, because after I finished capital letters, then there are some symbols, and then lower letter starts. Lower letter has 97 as ASCII value. Okay, just to know this, that lower letters has greater ASCII value than capital letters might be enough for this whole page, and to understand logic of compiler operation. Because when I need to convert a symbol or a letter, this ASCII value, this ASCII table is being used. We convert to write A, we convert 65 into binary code, which is ones and zeros. Let's talk about little bit what happens when I type codes in the computer and what is flow of operation in the computer. A developer writes codes. Okay, he writes this piece of codes, and this piece of codes that we see on the screen, they are meaningless for the time being for the computer. Computer has no idea about what are they. Java C stands for Java compiler. C is compiler. Java compiler in your development kit, before the lesson, our friends in technical support, they reminded us that we have to install IntelliJ and we have to install JDK. JDK is Java Development Kit. And in Java Development Kit, we have compiler. Compiler, as you can understand from its name, it compiles those characters and those words into bunch of zeros and ones. So the compiler will convert them into zeros and ones. Okay, let's say something like this. And then this is called as byte code, we can call them as well, or binary codes, we can call them Java bytecodes or Java binary code file. So this file will be executed by using Java virtual machine. Where is that Java virtual machine? It is in JDK that we have installed in our computer. So our computer has compiler and Java virtual machine and some very useful libraries also. That JDK, when you install to your computer, IntelliJ will be able to convert the codes that you type on IntelliJ by using that Java development kit, it will be able to compile them into ones and zeros, which means byte codes or binary codes. And then Java virtual machine knows how to handle these codes. It will execute those codes. What you will see on your operating system, OS stands for operating system. What you see in your operation system is just the outcome. You type your codes, you execute your codes, and you will see outcome in your computer, in your operational system. Good thing about Java is that you can use Mac as operation system, you can use Windows as operation system or Linux. They all works. You can get outcome on your operation system. You will see these parts because you will write codes. You will see these parts because this is the outcome. But compiler, you will not see that Java compiler is writing byte codes and virtual machine is executing those codes. These are behind screens. These are backgrounds. We don't see them at all. We type codes, we run codes and see outcomes. If we understand that flow, it will give deeper understanding of what we are doing while we are writing codes. Okay, so I passed this slide as well. Is there anything you want to ask me? Thank you, Miss Edris. No, there's no other. Okay, I want to warn you about one thing. Today's session and a little bit tomorrow's session is mostly based on, yes, but Miss Daria, it is a little bit confusing. I understand that if it is your first time to hear those, okay, try to concentrate on the main idea. Try to understand the main concepts. We don't need to memorize all those things. We should get the main points. Try to concentrate on that part. And my dear friends, if there are some people having a piece of paper next to them and trying to write some small notes, they will able to follow me till end of the lesson and they will really enjoy with the lesson. But if you are just watching me and trying to understand while you are doing nothing, you will start feeling tired. You will start feeling unconscious and maybe you will turn into watching a movie. Okay, please, listening a class behind the window is different than listening a class in the classroom. Imagine that you are in a classroom. It is better to sit on the desk and be present in the class. Sorry. Okay, it is better to be present and watch the class inside the classroom. It is not wise to watch behind the window that is on the door. If you remember a classroom, there is a door on the classroom and there is a window on the classroom, right? So please try to be present in the lesson. Try to write some notes. Even simple notes is enough. Okay, I think my friends replied to Miss Duygu, so I continue. If you are keeping notes, you will be active, you will not get tired, you will have better flow of the lesson. Next slide. So far, we discussed okay. There are some questions, but my friends, they will reply them. This is why I just skip and I don't break my teaching. Okay. My dear friends, so far we talked about programming language. If they don't ask, you can ask the question again. I will reply because they are busy with replying other friends as well. Maybe sometimes some people maybe not replied. Okay. Why we are learning Java then? Because we learn about programming language, we understand how programming language operates and what is interaction between machine and the language. It cannot speak the letters that I am using. The computer doesn't know about the letters. but we understand it into something that computer is, and it is meaningful for the computer, which means electricity is on and electricity is off, zeros and ones. This was the whole topic. I mean, this was the whole idea of the previous lesson so far. But we should ask ourselves why we are learning Java. There are so many other languages. Let me try to enlarge this picture a little bit. Sorry. Let me get rid of this phone. I was supposed to do this before lesson. Sorry, I've forgotten it. Anyway, it's done. There are some programming languages. They are difficult languages. It is difficult to learn those languages. And there are some language, they are simple to learn compared with the others. C++ is a hard one to learn. And Java, as you see from here, it is easy to learn. You might ask me this question. Python seems easy also in the list. Why we are not learning Python but Java? First reason is Java is easy to learn. I think we are all okay about that. The second, okay, I can zoom in again, but I will pass this part. There are some hard languages and there are some simple languages. I want to skip this part, Mr. Çağatay. The second reason, why not Python but Java? The answer is this. In the market, the most commonly used programming language is Java. It is the leading programming language in the world. If you are supposed to learn a foreign language, which language would you prefer? Would you prefer to learn English as a first choice? Or maybe Swahili as a first choice? Swahili is a language which is used in Africa, and it is very wide usage all around the world. Even myself, I know some terms in Swahili. Mungu ibariki Africa. I love Swahili. I know a little bit about Swahili, but my first choice would be English, of course, as Mr. Ismail said. Because, my dear friends, English is the most commonly used language in the world. If I spend some time to learn a language, it should be for the most commonly used language. For that reason, we prefer Java to learn. Recently, Python is in increase. Many people, they are learning about Python as well. So this is why TechPro has organized another course for Python development. Python development course. Yeah, I couldn't say it. But there's also full stack Python development course in TechPro. Currently, my friends, Java is leading and Java is the most common in the world. This is why we prefer to learn Java first option. The third option, I have talked about it a few minutes ago, a little bit. Java is platform independent programming language, which means if you type your codes on Mac, you can run them on Windows. This is amazing. We don't need to learn Python as well, Ms. Derya. I have good news for you. Once you learn logic of learning a language, a programming language, if you spend your time to learn Java very well, it will take Python after Java as well. To learn Python, for example, will take for you 1 or 2 weeks. I know this because I faced that one when I learned about Java, and I am also a graduate from TechPro, my dear friends. When I finished my course, I had interview, and in interview, they requested me to do a project in TypeScript. I requested them if they can give me 1 or 2 weeks. In that 1 or 2 weeks, I was managed to handle the project, and I got offer from that company. Learning a language, a new language, takes 1 week or 2 weeks for you. If you understand learning one language, learning because you know the logic, just contexts are different. In Java, there is for loop. In Python, there is for loop as well. Just the syntax is different. In Java, there is if condition. In Python, there is also if condition. So you need to transform your syntaxes into new ones. You will handle the rest. Okay, of course, there are some differences, some difficult parts. It is not that simple. You need to spend hard, but you can learn a new language, and it is going to be much simpler than the previous one. Starting with Java is really a good choice because it has a very good solid structure. And it teaches programming language logic very well. When you learn Java, then you can shift to other languages. I have many friends. Now they are typing their codes in Java and JavaScript. So I pass this part. Since Java is commonly used in the world, we start with Java. And since Java has a very good structure and it teaches you all the logic of programming language, it is always good choice to start with Java. Platform independent, we have talked about that. You can write in any operating system. After you type your codes, they will work again in any operating system. If you write your codes in Mac, you need to continue with Mac. No, there's no such problem. I think it is also understood. The most important part is Java is an object-oriented programming language. What does object-oriented programming language mean? In development, there are two approaches. While you are producing something, or maybe you are developing something, your main focus could be on the objects. The person is an object. The money she is holding is an object. Her account on the bank is an object. These are colorful because the main important part for object-oriented approach is the main emphasis is on objects. Your concern is about objects, not the procedures. You see, they are colorless. On procedural development model, on the other hand, the main emphasis, the main focus is on procedures like withdrawing money to accounts or depositing money from the accounts or transferring money from one account to another account. The important thing in procedural approach is the procedures. You give importance to the procedures and not on the objects in procedural developments. In object-oriented development, you give importance on objects, the customer, the money, and accounts, but not on the procedures. Which one is better approach to to develop a project? It may not give us any meaning for the time being. We may not understand from this explanation, like, okay, procedural approach is better or object-oriented approach is better. We may not get idea for the time being. To make it better understood, I will give example from daily life. Most of the time, chain companies like Starbucks, they use procedural approach because they have so many branches, and to make perfect objects that they will prepare perfect coffee is impossible for them. Object, the person who is going to prepare coffee, can get sick, can be lazy, can fall asleep. You cannot make that object perfect. So, chain companies like Starbucks, they give emphasis on procedures. They make perfect procedures, and then when a person comes to work in Starbucks coffee, he might be even high school student. he can prepare perfect coffee because Starbucks has made a perfect procedure of preparing a coffee. So when a person comes, as he follows those steps of preparing coffee in Starbucks, the result will be same. It is independent of the object. This person can be Chinese, this person can be Turkish, can be Russian, can be young, can be old. If he follows those procedures, he will prepare certain standard coffee. And taste of the coffee in any Starbucks branch is somehow the same. Okay? This is procedural approach. Object-oriented approach is like traditional restaurants. If you go to Chinese restaurants, you might be amazed with the taste of the food because the cook is so talented. Okay. Sorry. The cook is so talented. It is not important how he prepared the food, but since he or she is very talented person, you will be delighted. But the problem is this. What if the cook gets sick? How are you going to replace him with such a talented cook again? It is impossible. So in the real life, it seems like procedural approach is better way to choose because objects, we cannot make objects perfect. But by making perfect procedures, we can fill their weak sides. We can compensate their weak sides by making perfect procedures. It seems procedural approach better choice in real life. But when we come to digital world, when we come to computer world, we can make perfect objects. An object has some characteristics, has some feature. For example, if this is a cook, he can prepare or she can prepare the best cook. We can teach him how to prepare cook and how to talents that a cook is supposed to have. We can just type codes and she will know everything about cooking. Because this is a digital world, not the real world. In digital world, there is no getting sick, being lazy or something like that. There's no excuses in digital world. You give him features, you give him some abilities, and that object will have these abilities. In digital world, what is preferred is object-oriented. If your programming language is object-oriented programming, it is really good choice to use. Let me give you one example. Suppose you are running, we will give a break 3 minutes later. Every session is about 1 hour and 20 minutes. We will have 10 minutes break and we will have another 1 hour and 20 minutes session. Okay, today we are going to have 2 sessions, but tomorrow we will have 3 sessions because we will start typing codes tomorrow. And Miss or Mrs. AXYD, could you please type your name because it is very difficult to call your name with this form. Maybe regular name. If you can do that kindly, it will be I will be happy. Okay. Suppose we are running a school management system. After explaining this example, I will give you a break of 10 minutes. Suppose we are running a school management system and I have my teacher object. I can give feature to my teaching object like knows mathematics very well. Perfect mathematics knowledge. I can load him. I can load him with the knowledge of classroom management skills. He is able to manage classroom in the best way possible as much as possible. And then I can give him feature like he loves students very much. And then that person will be a perfect person. And the students will learn very much from that teacher in digital world. Okay, but not in real world. You cannot just load those informations. Again, I want to refer that movie of Matrix. I think that movie affected me so much. I'm repeating, giving so much examples from that movie. there were something at the back of people's head. They were putting something like a plug to people's brain, and those people, they were fighting for freedom of the human race. When they put that plug to people's brain, they were just typing, like they were teaching that person how to fight martial arts, and they become very talented fighters. They were loading him some skills. He knows how to fight in a gunshots. And then they were typing some codes. He runs very fast. So in digital world, you can make your objects perfect. Therefore, in digital world, especially in programming language, we make perfect objects who are going to do procedures in the best way. So procedures are not going to be very important for me. Those perfect objects, they will know what to do because I will give them some characteristics and they will follow those characteristics in a best way. Okay, so let's give a break for 10 minutes. Thank you for listening to me. After 10 minutes, we will continue our lesson. Okay, we are back. I hope the first session is okay, understood. We have so far discussed about the main logic of programming language and how my codes cooperate with machine, how machine handles my codes. I get a brief understanding about this. And we start talking about why should I study Java and what is the advantage of studying, taking your studies related with Java. We discussed a little bit about those. And we were talking, while we are talking about advantages of learning Java, we said that Java is object-oriented programming. I will have few slides about what does it mean being object-oriented and what are the advantages of a programming language if it is object-oriented. We have compared between procedural development approach where the procedures are important, not the objects. And we compare this with object-oriented approach where the objects are important, not the procedures. In real life, it might be advantageous to fill weaknesses of objects to make procedures perfect. That is true, but in digital world, we can make objects perfect. There is no limit for us. We can type a good code to make my object perfect. Act as I want him or her to act. In this case, I will have perfect objects doing perfect operations. This is a commonly preferred approach in digital world, object-oriented programming. I will continue with what does it mean to have an object. Object, we know from English, is something or somebody, correct? A thing or objects can have some characteristics. If this is maybe a student, that student will have some passive characteristics. This is it may have passive characteristics and it may have active characteristics as well. Passive characteristics has no action in it. For example, this student will have color for his hair. So he has hair color. He has eye color. He has number of fingers. He will have height as well as weight. These characteristics defining that students, they are passive characteristics. They are constant. There is no action in them. For example, his hair color is constant color and his eye color is constant value. Number of fingers. You cannot find actions in those characteristics. When you define something, let's say in this case, a student, there are some terms that you use to define that person's characteristics and they have no action in it. These characteristics are in programming language called as variables. You might find the term fields, but I prefer to use variables most of the time. But also, I want to remind you, you can hear a field also, which refers passive characteristics of an object. There are some characteristics, they have active features, they have action in it. This student can speak. This is an action. This student can walk, can think, eat, drink, and so on. So these characteristics defining that person, defining that object, have action in it. So if we are writing a characteristic to define person and which has action inside, these are called as methods. Variables used for passive characteristics and methods used for active characteristics of the object. You can find sometimes function instead of methods. Again, I prefer to use methods instead of function. Function has the same meaning with methods, as well as field has the same meaning with variables. Okay? I think the characteristics of the object is understood. Like we think of the previous example, the cook. We can give cook good passive characteristics and good active characteristics. The cook will be perfect cook. He can prepare the most delicious foods, maybe. I want to talk about little more. Oops, sorry. I want to talk little more about object-oriented programming language. In programming languages, we use very much abbreviations. In the fields, you will not find people calling you object-oriented programming. What is object? In interview, for example, they will not asking you, tell me what is object-oriented programming is. They will tell you, do you know OOP? They will use an abbreviation. You should get used with those abbreviations, okay? You will find in other places also, we use abbreviations very much. Mr. Hassan Basri, thank you for being so positive. You are sending smiling face and so on. You are keeping us rest a little bit. Thank you for being positive so much. Okay, and we continue. Positive people you should keep in your surrounding, my dear friends. Realistic people should be also in your surrounding. So, but it is nowadays very rare to find positive people. Okay, let's continue with the lesson. Object-oriented programming language can be understood better by thinking of Lego. Lego is one of the favorite toys for the children, and they explain us what is the main concept of OOP and two very important advantages of OOP. They make them very clearly understood. For example, these small pieces, they are all objects, small pieces. I bring those small pieces, small objects together, and I will form an application, a new toy. This toy is produced from these tiny pieces of Lego, correct? First, in a company, when I start working in a company, my manager will assign me a task. It will tell me that take that object and produce that object. So I will assign some active characteristics. What are the names for active characteristics? Do you remember? I will add required active characteristics of that object. And I'm asking, like, yes, methods, right? Like speaking, and so on and so on. We are calling them methods. I will add some methods to my object. I will read the requirements, what kind of object my boss is asking me to generate. According to those requirements, I will write methods. And those methods, since it is a small task, I can concentrate on it, and the possibility of me to make mistake while I'm producing this small task, this small object, is very little. I can produce very good quality of codes. I think you agree with me. And I will add required passive characteristics. What do we call passive characteristics as? Can you help me? Yes, variables. I can add my variables to the object, and I should test them. If my active characteristics are working well, my variables are all fine, I should test them, and I shall report my manager. My task is completed. And then my manager will assign me another object, another task. It will tell me that produce this task. I will again put my passive characteristics, which are variables, and I will add my active characteristics, which are methods, and I will test my piece of work, and I will report my manager that my task is completed. Every person will share these tasks among themselves. They will complete these tasks, and our product, all pieces will be ready. Yes, one by one. One of the advantage is, since the task is small, I can concentrate on it, and I can make a very efficient small piece. Java Virtual Machine, Mr. Muhittin, is when we are running our codes, it takes place. Currently, I am taking a task to produce an object, this small object, and I am creating that object. Mr. Abad, thank you for screenshots. Guys, okay, let me continue. The main idea that I am trying to tell you, there are small objects that are assigned to me in the company. I complete my task as a developer. I write my codes, and I write my test codes to test them, and then I report to my manager. I tested my codes, they are passing, and I produce that simple piece, and the next piece and others follows like that. The advantage here, I want to underline one more time because it is important. Since I am given a single task, small task, I can show all my talents and my concentration on it, and possibility for me to write a mistake while I am writing codes, or to find errors in that piece. Possibility to find errors is very little. If they give me the whole task, believe me, there will be so many mistakes in that code, right? But if I am given a small task, this is advantage of object-oriented programming. I can concentrate on the task, and by following those requirements, I can make perfect small objects, and I can test them. Okay. I will explain second advantage after I give that explanation. Later, I form each and every piece. It comes integration part. I will integrate these small pieces to form my application. Now my application is formed by integrating those small tiny pieces. Since those small tiny pieces, they are perfectly prepared, my application most probably will work in a best way, as good as possible. Okay. If I find some mistake, maybe this piece that I first produced has some misbehavior. There is a mistake in it. I missed, I couldn't see after I produced it. It is simple to debug that mistake. I can take that simple piece out, I can fix it, and then my machine will work in the best way as possible. So those small objects, they have features, fields, and variables, and they have functionalities which are called as methods. I think this is understood, the advantage of using OOP. Because we are concentrated on small pieces, the possibility for me to make mistakes is less. I can show all my talents to produce best small pieces. And when we find a mistake or something wrong, I can correct that in a simpler way. I want to remind you one important thing about the job. Writing codes is simple. The most important thing is testing your codes. When a developer types some codes, maybe he spent 1 hour to type a code, he should spend more than this to write test codes. The codes which will test his program, which will test his code, which will test source code. If he spent 1 hour for typing codes, he should spend at least 2 or 3 hours to write test code. We are calling this as unit testing. After you complete writing codes, a piece of code, you should test that code for all possibilities. If there are 100 test codes that you write to test your objects, if 99 of them passed and 1 failed, your manager will not accept this task. It will tell you, go and change your task because there is 1 feature that is failing. So which one is more important, do you think? Writing a code or testing the code? It is testing the code. Both is important, but if we need to choose, we should test the codes because these are telling me that if I created something correctly, if test fails, I created something, but this is not the thing that my manager is requested me to produce. Okay, I go to next slide, and we will talk about. We have talked about importance of creating an object, correct? And object has some passive characteristics. We are calling them variables, and has some active characteristics. We are calling them methods. How we can produce an object? In a real life, if I ask you, create a coin for me, you will tell me, sir, first give me a template. According to which template I can create that coin. In programming language, in Java, if we want to create an object, an instance, we are calling it also, if we want to create an object, we need to have a template. So that template in programming language is called as class. Class is a template. I think we all know what a template is. We fill the molten metal in this place. There are holes in it. When that metal frozen or when that metal cools down, you will see the picture here, the same picture here produced on the object. And then you can use this template one more time. Again, you can create another object. You can create as many objects as you want. But from where you create that object? From class. So first thing we do, we understand that objects are very important in programming language. We are sure about that. But how we are going to create objects? First, we have to create a template. By using that template, I will create my several objects. Okay? This is called as class. As objects has variables and methods, from where they get those variables and methods, the object get its variables from class, because in the class we write variables. In the class we write methods, and object will use these variables and will use these methods. If I don't have a variable in the class, in the template, it is impossible for me to get that variable in the object. I want you to look carefully. For example, here, my object has nose. You see? If you look the template, you will see the nose. My template, I think it will be seen. I choose green. Has green, I circle it with green. It has eye. So my template has eye. So every feature in the object is coming from my class. That is a good interview question, in fact. If they ask you how you can add variables or methods to your object, what will be your answer? What would be your answer? I will create, yes, from class. Well done. I will create a class. I will create my object from the class. Therefore, those variables and methods which are present in the class will be carried out to my object. So class is template to create an object, and everything on an object come from the class. So first thing we should do, if we want to create objects, before we need to create a class. What are the steps to create a class in Java? We will discuss about that now. So we are starting programming a little bit step by step. To create a class, let's see how many steps are there. This is the first step. We can separate them from the colors. This is the second step. That is the third step and fourth step. So how many steps there are? There are 4 steps to declare a class, to create a class. What is the meaning of first step? That yellow colored part. Public is called as access modifier. Access modifier is modifying, is explaining, is telling me that who can access to my class. This happens in real life also, isn't it? For example, if you are building a house, you are declaring that this house is for me and for my family. So who can access my home? Who can use that house? Me and my family. If I am so rich, if I build a library, I can say public library. So whoever wants to read book from this library can go there and can read books. We are doing the same thing in daily life. When we create something, when we produce something, we are clarifying who can access to that thing. For example, I graduated from university, I get my diploma, I get my certificate. It is my certificate. Only I can use it. No one else can use my certificate. So access modifier actually restricts the access of the class. Who can reach my class? We are clarifying it. And there are 4 types of access modifiers. The important thing here is to understand their meaning. We don't know Java codes yet, and to explain it at this time is a little bit difficult. And for some of you, they may not have a very clear picture in their mind. This is normal. What we need to do is get the main idea from daily life. As we learn about writing codes, you will make them clear in your mind. You will understand what I'm trying to explain now very well. For the time being, be patient and just try to get the main idea. Okay? First, access modifier is public. What does public means? Everyone. It's open to everybody. Like public library. Whoever you are, yes, Hasan Basri, you can go to that library and you can read books from that library. The second, access modifier comes with some restriction. It says that it is a restricted area. Only some people, member of a community, can use this, let's say, class. Okay? Like restaurant kitchen, Hasan Basri well explained. You can see this signboard in a restaurant. It says restricted area, employees only. So if you are not employee working in this restaurant, you are not allowed to go behind that door because this is not open for you. Only employees working in that restaurant are allowed to enter behind that room or behind that door. Is this understood? If your project, you create your class, and if you want to reach your class from anywhere in the project, you will use public modifier at the beginning. If only some part of the project you are allowed to reach this class, you will use default. Okay? Protected is somehow also restricted, but somehow similar to default, in my opinion. There is great difference between them, but I find them somehow related because protected also brings some restriction. If you choose protected, you can select a group of people and their kids. It may not be meaningful at that point. For example, in a restaurant, if this is default warning, only employees can enter that place. When a child of an employee comes to that restaurant, want to visit his parents, he will not be allowed to enter this room, although he is child of an employee. But if I change this access modifier to protected, members, children of the members can also visit their parents while they are working in, behind that door. Is it understood, the example? Okay, good. For example, in this picture, we have a swimming pool. Okay. Okay, Mr. Kadir, I will explain with another example. Okay. For example, here we have a swimming pool in my community, and there are some houses in it, around it. Owner of the house can use this swimming pool, but also their kids can use the swimming pool. Correct? We are not saying default only owner of the house can use it. No, but we are allowing also owner of the house children to go inside and swim in the swimming pool. So this is protected. Mr. Kadir, we don't know about parent and child relationship in programming language. So it might be a little bit not clear for you time being. But when we learn about parent and child relationship in programming, we will understand that concept better. Hasan Basri, please keep contributing like that. You are making me excited. I'm glad you are here. And other friends, please also you write your comments. I've seen several of you writing comments. Thank you for your comments. Contribute to the class, please. Protected means a group of people and their children. Public means everyone. Default means a group of people. And what about private? Private means only this class can reach itself. Nobody else from outside can access to that class. For example, I love my kids, but if this is my driving license, I will not allow my kids to use my driving license. It is my privacy. Yes, only I can use my private license. Let us summarize access modifiers. Yes, correct. Let us summarize access modifiers. Which one has the widest access modifier? ID cards, perfect. Which one has the widest access modifier? Public. Which one has the second widest access modifier? Indeed, protected. Some of you are counting in order, first, second, third. No. Default is for group of people. Protected is for group of people and their children. Okay, so protected has wider than default. Okay, some people are confused because we have two channels. There is free channel and there is registered channel. Some people are asking, who is Hassan Basri? I cannot see it. And in other channel, the comments, people from the different channel cannot see it. Just an information I am sharing with you. There are two channels ongoing at the same time. You are writing your questions from the two different channels. Okay? My dear friends, I think we understand about what is public, what is access modifier, what is access modifier. There are 4 access modifiers. They are public, protected, private, and default. So let's continue with the next slides. The first thing we have discussed so far is what is access modifier. And remember, whenever you declare a class, first thing you do is writing its access modifier. Who can reach that class? Like in the real life, when you build something, when you create something, you write that, you clarify that who can use it. If you get a diploma and share with your friends, you will tell them that, okay, this is my private diploma, only I can use it. If you have driving license, like we said, this is your private driving license, only you can use it. If you build a house, you and your child can use that house, correct? And so on. The second thing, the first step is over. We have to clarify who can access to my class. The second thing is class keyword. Java, how does Java knows that I am declaring, I am creating a class? Java will know this from class keyword. After I write access modifier, I should write class keyword to tell Java that this is a class. Class key is a reserved key. In Java, there are some reserved keys like public and class. They are reserved by Java. You cannot use them in your codes. You cannot give a variable name of class. Okay, class key is reserved by Java and you are not allowed to use it. Only Java can use it. Whenever you see class keyword, it declares that this is a class. And all reserved keywords, they start with lowercase. Like C is in lowercase, P is in lowercase. Okay. We are coming to the third part, which is name. Okay. We explain who can access to the class. We declare that this is a class. And then we give a name to our class. There are 3 basic rules while we are giving name to our classes. First one, each letter, first initial should be capital. That is the first rule. The second one is if there are more than 1 words, like 2 words, 3 words or more, each word should start with capital letter. Okay, this is the second rule. And the third rule, the class name should be descriptive. It should describe what is the functionality of the class, what is the class is related with. If I am talking about cars, I shouldn't write a class with name of maybe money. relation with cars and money is irrelevant. The class name should summarize what is the functionality of the class. It should be related with the class. This is understood, I think. And finally, these curly braces. These curly braces are very important. These curly braces, they tell me where we start and where we end. The codes, all the codes that I type in my class should be between these two curly braces. I want to give you a simple example. For example, I declare class name, I write class keyword, I write my first class, and then curly braces starts. All the codes that I will type, I will write between these lines. I put this picture here because, especially in the first days, sometimes you will find yourself typing codes outside the class. How do I know that if I am writing here, I am outside the class? Can you make comment about that? If I write a comment here, type a code here, this will be outside the class. How do you know that this is outside the class? Because I am writing codes after curly braces. Therefore, I will get error. It will not operate. Yes, Mr. Yavuz Selim. If I write codes, maybe before these curly braces, again, I am writing my codes outside the class. So if I am outside my class, these codes are meaningless and I will get error. So I have to be very careful, especially during first days. Every code, every method, every variable are supposed to be written between these two curly braces. The first part is declaration of the class, and blue ones are curly braces, which are very important. I shall write my codes between these two curly braces. Yes, exactly. And class body should be in the green parts. So far, we have learned some concepts. Let us make a fast revision. Okay, what is OOP? Can you write for me, please? What is OOP? Object-oriented programming. Perfect. Guys, you are great. What about class? What is class? Perfect, Mr. Muhyiddin. This is exactly the answer that I want to get from you. And actually, many of you write the same answer. Well, thank you for your contribution, guys. We are going to do great things, I believe. I got a very high energy from you. Class is a template. What do I that template for? To create objects, correct? It is template for object. Yes, Kadir. And what about objects? Objects, can you tell me some words about objects? Objects are objects and they have passive and active characteristics, as Mr. Hassan says. They have passive and active characteristics. And actually, they are very important because those objects, they will do some procedures, and those procedures are actually what my program is supposed to do. And I will achieve those procedures by creating perfect objects. They contain method and variables. Perfect. There are passive characteristics of objects. Can you tell me what do we call those passive characteristics as? Variable. Perfect. And there are active characteristics. We call them as methods. Perfect. Mr. Ali, thank you. Okay, Ms. Amina, thank you very much for contribution. And in class declaration, can you type for me the format for class declaration? How many steps do we have? 4 steps. First one is come on live channel. Oh, Mr. Ali, perfect. You did already all of it. Access modifier is the first one. The second one is, yes, class keyword. And the third one is class name. Well done. Thank you for contribution, Miss Nur. Miss Maya, thank you. Okay, name. And finally, the last part is curly braces, opening and closing curly braces. All the body is supposed to be, class body is supposed to be between these two lines, these two curly braces. Thank you for contribution. We talk about first step is access modifier. And how many access modifiers are there? 4. Can you list them? Maybe. Public, from widest to the narrowest. Public, first, great, protected, second, default, third, and finally, private. Thank you, Mr. Haduk. You write all them in correct order. Okay, guys, you are doing great. And finally, naming convention for class. First one, it starts with capital letter. If it contains more than one words, all of them must start with capital letters. And finally, it should be descriptive. Okay, Miss Kadir is reminding us some details about naming convention, like you are not allowed to put space. Guys, in some other documentations, you can find so many other rules also, like using symbols and whatever. If you stick on these naming conventions, okay, you will do great. As you go details, like you shall not put spaces and which characteristic spatial. For example, you are not supposed to choose underscore between names in naming convention. If you go details, you might find yourself doing greater work. But learning simple like this is, if something is simple to understand and comprehend, it is more useful. So if you stick on using these naming conventions, like I start with capital letter, if there are more words, I make all of them the first letters capital, and I write something descriptive. If you stick on it, you will do great jobs. And naming conventions are important because in some interviews, this is reason why you are not accepted to the company, because you will bring company confusion. People, they will get confused. If you name object like a class, or if you name a variable like a class, they will confuse what you mean, or they will call you, this person is illiterate. Suppose that you are asking somebody, what is your name? And somebody is asking me, sir, what is your name? And my name is, as I cleared at the beginning of the lesson, Selim. Suppose that I reply like this, Selim. You will think that what kind of teacher is this? I am teacher in origin. What kind of instructor is this? He doesn't know about rules of grammar in English. He start with lowercase while he's typing his name. You will be surprised. If you are the person, maybe manager, I'm asking you to give me a job opportunity, definitely you will not select me because I don't even know simple grammar rules. I will tell you that I am new in the field. I have problems with grammar. This error, although it is a simple error, it tells many information about me that I am not the good fit for this job. So if in interview, you are not writing class names with capital letters, in my opinion, this is my personal approach, you are doing a very simple but very big mistake. You don't know even very basic information. Okay? I think you got my points. Now we learn how to create classes. Now it is high time to learn how to create objects, because our main concern is to create objects who can do better things, and therefore my product, my application will work in a best possible way. But how am I going to create objects? We know that we create objects from Where? From templates, correct? And those templates are classes. Great, guys. Okay. And those templates are classes. I declare a object, I create object by how many steps? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and last semicolon. 6 steps. I have to follow these 6 steps to create an object. First step is I have to mention which template I am using to create my object. So I tell Java that use why brackets are not step in this. Okay. This whole thing is called as one body. I will come to that point, Mr. Fatih. Can we continue that one when we are talking about it? And they are not curly. They are regular brackets. This is the structure. Let's talk about this when we come to this point. First step we are talking about, okay? First, I have to declare that Java should understand which template it should use so that it will produce my object. I am telling you, use a template, and that template is name of my class, which class that it's going to use, my first class. Okay, so I will create an object from this template. This is understood. I think it is basic. The second step, I should give name to my object. So there is naming convention for object. It is slightly different than naming convention of a class. Can you tell me what is the difference between naming convention of class and the object? There are 3 rules again, and they look very much same. Yes, the only difference is in initial letter. Objects, they start with lowercase letters. They do not start with capital case letters like class names. Okay? Rest is the same. Object names should start with lowercase letter. If there are multiple words, except first one, all other letters should be uppercase, and the name should be descriptive. If I am talking about books, it should be something related with books. Okay? This is assignment operator. This is different than equal sign. Don't call this as equal sign, please. What is its name? Let me talk about this in the next slides. What is name for this sign? It is assignment operator. It is not equal sign. This is not the same thing. Like if you add 3 and 4 in mathematics, you say that this is equal to 7, right? If you want to compare if the left-hand side is equal to the right-hand side, in Java, we don't use equal sign. Okay, we use this one. 3 plus 4 double equal 7. In Java programming language, it might be strange to see it, but this single equal sign doesn't have the meaning if the left-hand side equals to the right-hand side. This is not for comparison. This is not for comparing 2 quantities. Okay? This is assignment operator. What it does, it takes the value at the right-hand side. Now, this is the value at the right-hand side, correct? And it assigns this value into my object container. My object is object name, and it is an object. So I put the value here inside my object. So my object will have this value, whatever it has as a value. It assigns this value to the object. Okay? It is not equal sign in mathematics. I think this is understood. And next, we will discuss about new keywords. There are two ways of creating something or producing something. In real life, we will understand by the time better, exactly, especially about this equal sign. Today, you will have some better understanding, but tomorrow you will have even better. And as days goes, you will have no problem with this operation. Let me tell you something about, it is not the right time, so I just skip. No need to confuse our minds. Okay, I will talk about this assignment operator in the following lessons. And we will have definitely better understanding of it. We are talking about new keywords. This is also a reserved key. You cannot use it like this. My dear friends, there are two ways of creating something. And at the moment, we are creating an object. We can create using something, we can modify it, and we can create something else. Or we can create from nothing. We can create from, we are using this term very much, scratch. What does it mean, scratch? This is actually their Mysteria, means scratch. I explain a term and you ask the question. We are at the same mood. That is good sign, Mysteria. And with others. Scratch means from nothing. I think Ms. Abdurrahim, you we will, okay, this one you mean. I want to explain about camel case, Mr. Abdurrahim. While we are talking about variable names, there will be several terms there. It will be better understood, in my opinion. You are right. This is a camel case, if you mean it. Naming convention. Let's go to creation of, let's turn back to creation of an object. We can create an object from scratch, which means from nothing, or we can create an object from already existing object. I can use some already existing things, combine them together to form something new. For example, I have some flour, I have some eggs, I can mix them, and I can prepare cake. This is not from, and I can use already existing materials to combine something new. This one we will learn later, how we can create object by using another object. We will learn later, but our focus is on creating from scratch. There is no object at all, and then I create like God, creates from nothing. I create like God from nothing. There's no class like that, and suddenly I have my objects. To create from scratch, we need to write new keywords. If we write new keywords, we are creating from the nothing. Yes, Mr. Hassan Basri, you are right. This is syntax of Java. Java understand which template I should use, my first class. What is the name? Then it will put a name. And then, okay, what I will going to put in this object? Then assignment operator will tell the one which is on the right-hand side. Okay, how am I going to create that object? From scratch, from nothing. And how am I going to create that object? By using the final thing, constructor. This whole thing, orange colored thing, is called as constructor. You can understand from its name. It used to construct something. What do you think that it constructs? Can you tell me? What constructor constructs? Miss Julia, you are right. I'm building a house. Constructor is this one, and it constructs objects. In this case, my object. Okay? So this constructor will construct my object, but according to this template. It will use this template to create from nothing an object. Okay? Constructor, I find it like a factory. It produces several objects. It just produces one object. If you write object 1, you get one object. Object 2, you produce again using the same format, second object. Object 3, you can produce your third object, and you can produce so many objects by using your constructor. It is like a machine creating objects for you. But from where it creates objects? It creates objects from its class. Do you realize that name of these two are the same? There is a very important rule here. Name of constructor must be same with the name of the class. Okay, this is important. You cannot write here anything that you want. If you want to create from this class, you will use constructor name like this. For example, if Mr. Hasan Basri is a class name, then it will be like Mr. Hasan Basri, and there is no spaces between them. My object equals to new. I'm supposed to write here with capital letter, Mr. Hasan Basri and brackets. These brackets, they are telling me that this is a constructor. Class name followed by a brackets is constructor. I will try to explain you one thing. My drawing is not that good, but please just end bracket. Exactly, Ms. Salun. We are going to use class name with brackets. Then this is constructor. What is the functionality of constructor? I will try to draw you a picture, and my handwriting is not that good. Please help me by trying to understand what I am trying to draw. That is not fair, isn't it? Okay. Suppose this is a table, and on the table, I have some dough. I will use this dough to cook a cake. And I have oven as well. So here I have an oven. I am supposed to put this dough into oven, and I should cook this cake. And I am waiting cake to be cooked, and I want to enjoy with that cake. Hasan Basri cooking cake. Yeah, that method is good. So could you tell me, please, if I keep waiting, will this dough be inside the oven and it will be cooked? Is it meaningful just waiting there? It is nonsense. There should be somebody. Yeah, we will not get cake prepared if we just keep waiting. We have the materials, we have active characteristics, we have maybe passive characteristics, and they are already there. But we will not have our constructor in our hand. We will not have our object in our hands. We will not enjoy with the cake. We need somebody. Okay? That person is supposed to make that action of producing a cake. And then I will have my object in my hands. So this thing who is constructing from templates, my required object is called as constructor. Mr. Yavuz has a comment. So means, in this case, we are constructor by putting it into the oven. This is what constructor does. It constructs, it produces my object, okay, by using this class template. And be very careful. The name of the constructor ends with brackets, and it must be identical with the class name. Okay, I think this part is understood, constructor part. Without using a constructor, we cannot create an object from scratch. If you want to produce a cake from its ingredients, there were no cake, and you want to create a cake, then you need a constructor, in this case, a cook. Okay, cook is acting like a constructor. And we end with the semicolon. What is the meaning of semicolon at the end? Can you tell me your comments? What is the functionality? Perfect, Ms. Salun. I was expecting you to say semicolon is and. Yes, right, end of statement. In English, we use full stop to show that a sentence is finished, correct? This is the end of the sentence. In English or in normal daily life, in any language, we use full stop to show that sentence is finished. This is not a sentence. This is a Java statement. To show that Java statement is ended, we use this semicolons. Yes. We don't prefer to say sentence, but we say Java statement. Okay, that is perfect. We are going to discuss about how we create a variable. Now, let's remember what we did so far. We want to create objects, and we want our objects to be perfect, as best as possible. Okay? And to be able to create objects, I need a template, which is, in this case, a class. I know how I can create a class. I need that class. I need to assign that class some active characteristics and some passive characteristics, because I will create object by using this template, and my object will have those characteristics, active and passive characteristics, variables and methods. Okay, so far I know how to create a template. I know how to create the class, and I learned that how can I create objects. Okay, so it is logical, isn't it, to learn how can I add my variables, which are passive characteristics. And what do you think, what I will teach you after this topic? Perfect, Miss Sarah. I will teach you how to declare methods. Okay? First, at this point, we are going to discuss about how we can create variables. The first step, when I create something, it is always the same thing. I declare who can access to that variable, who can reach my variable. If it is public, what will be your answer? Who can access my variable? Who can use my variable? Everybody. Can this variable be my social security number? No, definitely not. If I am writing a variable, which is my social security number, I cannot declare it as a public. It should be secret, right? It is private. The public keyword, the first step is access modifier. I should define who can access to my variable, and there are 4 access modifiers. One is public, the other one is default, third one is protected, and finally private. I passed this step because we already understood this one. The second is integer. I am going to declare a variable. So this variable is a sort of data. It is a data, and that data has type. There are different types of data. It can be letter, it can be whole number, it can be decimal, correct? That data can be sort of a data. We are going to learn data types tomorrow. This is not good time to discuss about what are data types, okay? But just keep this in mind. After declaring who can access to my variable, I need to declare what is the type of that variable. So by explaining its type, like by declaring its type, we will understand that what is the name, what kind of information I'm going to store in this container, that I will create a container. Data types There are several. For numbers, there are 6 data types. We will learn tomorrow, step by step. We shall go, okay? But for the time being, I can tell you that int means abbreviation for integer. As we discussed earlier, in programming languages, we use abbreviations very much. So int stands for integer, which is a whole number. You will learn tomorrow in details. What are all numerical data types? What are other data types? The second step is over. Int is data type of variable. There are many data types in Java. We will learn them tomorrow. And finally, the third step is name of the data. Name of the variable. Name of my variable is, if this is related with age, should be descriptive, should describe the purpose of this variable. Therefore, I put here name as my age. And naming convention is same with naming convention of object, which is it starts with lowercase letter and all other words are in capital case letter. Okay? This is the third step. When we come to fourth step, this is the number 4. Can you tell me what is the name of this sign? Do you remember its name? You forgot? Not equal, right? Assignment operator. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you for your contribution. Not equal. We are not calling this as equal. This is not equal. What assignment operator does? It takes value on the right. Okay, assignment operator, this operator takes the value on the right. Let me write this with different color. Assignment operator takes the value on the right-hand side and put that value into my age container. What happens here? Suppose I will try to draw some basic thing, okay? We will draw these diagrams tomorrow more, but let me just try to show you what happens. Suppose this is my memory, where I store my information. When I say public integer, an area is reserved. Since it is integer, dimension of this reserved area will be according to the integer data type. And a reserved area will be created in the memory, okay? And I will call this reserved area with the name of my age. So its name is going to be my age. And then assignment operator will take value on the right-hand side inside this reserved area. So in the memory, I will reserve an area. I will call this place as my age. When I want to call my age from the memory, the value inside this container will come to my hand. The logic is like this. Assignment operator, take the value on the right into this container. So inside that container, I will assign value of 13. Okay, this is the functionality of assignment operator. Let me go step by step. I want to go to next slide. If we are, variable is assigning space. Ms. Saloon, I couldn't understand what you mean. Variable is assigning space. Let me repeat. When I write this simple code, I create an reserved area. And do you think that who can reach to that reserved area? Anybody can reach to that reserved area, okay? And since it is integer, the size of this memory is related with the integer. How much space integer values occupies, that much space I'm going to create for my container. I give name to my container, so this container will be called as my age. Whenever I use from the memory, whenever I call, bring me my age, this container, what is inside that container? They will go there and they will bring that container to me. Okay. And what I put inside this memory, I assign value of 13 into this reserved area. So in the memory, I have a reserved area, and in that reserved area, when I call my age, that thing which is inside that reserved area will come to my hands. Ms. Salon, I think it is understood. Is it? I continue. If there is something which is not clear, please ask me. Okay, Ms. Emre. Thank you, Ms. Edris. Maybe I should wait till tomorrow, but do variables and methods take up space? Take up space. Okay. Ms. Salun, tomorrow we are going to talk about variables. Okay. I think your question will be much clearer. I'm thinking if I made a mistake, in programming languages, we do two things mainly. We store data, and we manipulate data. We use data. This example, the previous or this above example is example to store data. Where do we store that data? In the memory. And in the memory, there are some spaces. Okay, what do we mean by space? I will explain tomorrow by diagrams. We keep data, we store data in these places. Whenever I need to call my data back, we are going to use that explanation. I agree with Ms. Hassan Basri. You should be asking parts that you couldn't understand. This shouldn't be done with only few students, but all students, when they couldn't understand something, they should ask me, because you have three options to ask questions, as I said in the beginning of the lesson. If the question is related with the current topic, it is contribution and it will help all others to understand better. Never hesitate to ask me questions, guys. First, if it is related with the topic, if you are calling something from later topics, it is not wise to ask at that point. And then you ask your question. I will not reply that question simply. Or if it is very detailed question, it will bring confusion to the class. I will omit that question. Maybe after classes, we can communicate and we can talk about that question later on, but not in the class. You have three options to ask me repeatedly. If I couldn't explain, maybe you will watch recordings. Okay, you will discuss with your groups. You will use mentoring sessions to clarify that point. And you will have small study groups, and you will have practice sections. There are so many other options. Exactly, Mr. Emre. Somebody else will help you because we have small study groups. You will do with another instructor. You will have practice sessions. You will do maybe a third instructor. I don't know currently. And you have your mentors. You will discuss with your mentor how you can solve this problem. Guys, you are in safe hands. You're not just depending on me and my talents. You are here and whole Tech Pro is behind you. We will support you. We want to be proud with your success. Okay. At the end of 6 months, you will get tired a lot. I'm telling you, if you take steps in the right time and with the right amount, at the end of 6 months, many of you are going to have a new career and new jobs, actually. All Tech Pro is behind you. Sit back, relax. Just make sure that you are willing to do that, because by watching tuitions, by attending just live sessions, without doing revisions, without making group studies, without making communities among yourself and forming strong bonds among yourself and supporting each other, you will not be able to complete this task, this journey as it is required. When we will use IntelliJ, tomorrow we are starting, Mr. Aydin, most probably. Today we are learning about basic concepts, and all these informations, which are not practical informations, but theoretical informations, we are going to write them on the codes and they will have meaning. Okay? Yes, try to study every day and let us encourage each other. Okay. How to create a variable? We are continuing with assignment operator. We have already discussed about how we can assign that value into this container. And 13 will be the value of the variable. And finally, curly braces, semicolons, they show me that this is the end of Java statement. We can think, we can spend some more words about how we can create a variable, okay? This is a regular form to create a variable. Public access modifier, data type, name, assignment operator, value, and end of the statement, okay? These are the steps. But also sometimes you can see somebody is just declaring a variable like this, public int my age, and he or she ends the statement. Ms. Sherife, it is always hard to learn new things. That is for sure, 100% for sure. And it is also enjoyable. You feel that you are alive when you force yourself. And at the end of maybe 2 months, 3 months, when you see what you are able to do, what you are able to achieve, and what you are able to do, you feel excited. This is being alive, and this is adding value to yourself. If you just repeat every day same actions, you will not enjoy with your life, believe me. But as you force yourself, as you add value to yourself, and this will never happen by looking your social media accounts, by watching what other people succeeded and approving them, wow, congratulations, and so on. You will be just feeling depressed. It is time to show your success story. It is time to show what you can achieve. This journey of 6 months is going to be very intensive. I am telling you at the beginning. And you will learn so many tools, but you will form friendships. You will ask guidance from TechPro members. And at the end of this journey, you will enjoy yourself. You will trust yourself. If we have questions, can we ask the day after? There is in the channel, Slack channel, a place like sharing questions, asking questions. In these channels, you can share questions among your friends, and there are so many students now alive, like we are 100, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I didn't count it. I'm telling you approximately, because there are 2 channels. So for sure, some people, they will answer your questions. And whenever you find chance, your friend is asking a question, try to answer this question. It is going to be a good practice for you. And as I have declared, you will have small study groups. You will solve more examples there, and you will have mentoring sessions. In those mentoring sessions, for example, if today you finished if conditions, your mentor will direct you interview questions related with if conditions. He will make sure that you understand if condition, or at least he will show you up to which level you are supposed to force yourself. And you will be in communication one by one with your mentor. You will talk to him one by one, and he will tell you, for example, you need to do this, and you will ask him questions like, how can I improve myself? I have such problems in my work. I have that timing problems. You will try to find solution altogether. Okay? But I am not trying to draw you a very optimistic Pollyanna world. The world is not like that. You will sweat a lot. You will get tired a lot. Okay? But at the end, you have all required support with you from TechPro. At the end, you will have a new career. If you want to get a new career, you are supposed to spend at least 2 years in university, or maybe 4 years. We are going to squeeze that time in 6 months, okay? And it will be through hard working and well planning. Some people, they are telling me, is it possible to squeeze 2 years of study into 6 months? Yes, it is. Normally, if your car has a flat tire, to change that tire takes time. For me, it takes nearly 5 to 10 minutes, I think, to change one flat tire. In F1 races, they are decreasing this amount to 3 to 4 seconds. And in that 3 to 4 seconds, they change all tires, not only one tire. For me, to replace one tire takes about 10 minutes. But if in F1 with a well-structured plan, they are changing all 4 tires and they are filling the fuel in 4 seconds, I think. So when we have a good plan and when we take steps in a correct order and when we are well concentrated, human being is so strong. They can do many amazing things. You will find your limits. The more time you put into action, what you learned, the more you absorb to it. Yes, exactly, Ms. Salom. Could you upload today's recordings to LMS after the session, please? Ms. Ayşe, after the session, about 3 or 5 hours, 3 to 5 hours, if I'm not mistaken, you're supposed to wait because Zoom is rendering these records. And after Zoom rendered that records, our staff, technical staff, they don't waste a time. They upload it to the LMS as soon as possible. But sometimes it takes 3 hours, sometimes 5 hours, depending on connection and depending on the Zoom itself. Sometimes Zoom itself is not behaving as expected. Okay, and if you face any problems, you can communicate always through Slack, especially with technical support. If maybe you find that the video is not recorded yet after 5 hours, you can ask kindly to take pro education. Technical support. You can communicate with me as well through Slack. I will try to do my level best. Okay. We said that we can declare a variable from a different perspective. We have 7 minutes and I want to finish variable declaration. Okay, this time is quite enough. Let us concentrate it. Today, we got tired a bit. We learned new concepts, but we are champions. We are going to work hard. We are well decided to add ourselves a new values, okay? And we are in a field which needs hard working. If you are people who is in need of getting easy things, this is not the correct area, correct field. This field needs, you need to refresh yourself. You need to open to new ideas. You need to work with your team members in cooperation. And it is really exciting and fun, okay? But if you are kind of lazy person who just watch the things happening from beside, you don't have a very good career. Of course, this field is having very variety of opportunities. For example, there is manual testing. You don't need to even write a single code. You just open the application, you test the application. There are my friends, they are doing it and getting paid. They just given some applications and they are asking, test this application. For example, my friend get 70 pounds, just what he was supposed to do. He has a Citroen branch car. He is supposed to count how many times Bluetooth connection is broken within 1 hour. He repeated that test. 1 hour he make tests, and he's not even working in a company. He's doing this as a freelancer. He is paid 70 pounds. Just he used his Citroen car and connected his Bluetooth device with Citroen, and he counts how many times they are connected or this connection happens. Sometimes this field has variety of opportunities, okay? But if you are dare to take responsibilities, if you are active people, if you add yourself new abilities, I believe today in IntelliJ, there is nothing to do. Yes, we are going to write codes the second day. Tomorrow, we are going to start writing codes. Tomorrow, we are going to have 3 sessions. Today, we had 2 sessions. Okay, guys, let us finish these last two slides, and I'm going to end today's lesson. I will answer if you have questions at the end of the lesson, but let us keep our concentration to last 2 slides. We already know regular way of declaring a variable. That is one, first public access modifier, data type, name, assignment operator, the value, and end of sentence. But sometimes you will find only left-hand side. Only writing left-hand side and ending the statement is enough to declare a variable. In this case, if you just write public integer my age, what happens? I will try to draw you in short. That is a memory, okay? This is where we keep our information, we save our information. This is presenting a memory. And in the memory, I declare that I want to create an integer. So according to that value, I reserve an memory place to reserve my information. And I give it name of my age. Sorry, there's Y here. But I did not put a value inside that my age if I just write this code. This is an alternative way of creating a variable. But when this is called as variable declaration. I have declared a variable, but I have not assigned value to the variable. Do you understand that sentence? Let me repeat again. I have declared a variable. I created a space in the memory, and I call that place as my age, but I didn't assign value inside that container. What will happen in this case? My child today came to me and asked me, "Father, could you give me money?" My child didn't specify me how much money I am supposed to give him. In my family, there is a default value. What do we mean default? Default is by definition. My child, when he asks, "Father, give me money," I am giving him, he is going 8th class in Turkey, 20 Turkish liras. Let's say that $10, okay? When my child asks me money, I give him $10. If he needs more money, maybe he will spend something and then $10 is not enough for him, he will specify the amount. "Father, could you give me maybe $20? But if he use just this sentence, "Father, give me money," I will give him $10. This is settled in my family. By definition, if he asks me money, it is $10. So Java does the same thing. If we are creating a numerical data type, there are 6 types of numerical data types. We will learn them tomorrow. If you use any numerical data type, and if you declare like this, when we reserve an area in the memory, Java will place here its default value, which is 0. Are we clear about this? Okay. So default value means the value by definition we give it. Java gives that value itself. For numeric data types, default value is 0. And this is what happens. I try to draw here, actually. What happens in reality. There are some more different ways to declare variable. I want to show them all at once. First, we can create multiple variables. If they all have the same data type, if they are all integers, you can declare age, height, and distance, just like this. You write their names, separate them with comma. Age is first variable. You place a container, you place a space, you reserve a space in the memory, you call it void age. And then height is the second variable. You reserve a space in the memory and call it as height. And third one is distance. You do the same thing for distance. Since we did not assign any values, they will be all having default values because they are all integers. Comma and space, or only comma. Comma is enough. Space, you can add space. You may not add space. Mr. Ahmad, if you are thinking of being tester, you have eyes of a tester. Details are important. If you are a developer, you need to know this definitely. So in both, it works for you, it seems. Okay, Mr. Ahmed. Comma is enough. You may not need to put space between words, but if you put space, 1 or 2 is not important. Readability is easy. So putting space is good for readability. And this is also another way. First, you can declare a variable like integer age, and then you can, this is declaration of the variable. Later, you can assign value. First, it is 0 here because you declare a variable. It is default value 0. And then when you assign numerical value, that 0 will be canceled and it will be replaced by 27. I go fast. Here, I declare 3 variables, and then first they were 0, like this. And then I change age as 27, height as 185, and distance as 470. Or you can declare like this: integer age is equal to 27 and comma. Height is equal to, no need to write int again because they have the same data type. Height is equal to 185. Distance is equal to 470. I passed the lesson about 3 minutes. This is the end of the lesson for today. Okay, Ms. Saloon, you have also eyes of a tester. Good question. I was thinking of if should I explain it or not because time exited a little bit, but this is a very essential question. I cannot skip that question. If you wouldn't realize this, I will skip that one and I could explain tomorrow. Ms. Saloon is telling us that, what about access modifier? We did not declare the access modifier. If you understand, okay, Mr. Muhittin, I will explain your question. Good question also comes from Mr. Muhittin. Your contributions are very good, guys. I hope we are going to have a good season together. First, Ms. Saloon, I'm explaining his question. There is no access modifier. And do you remember my child, when he asked me money, I give him $10? If you don't write access modifier, which access modifier do you think that it will be assigned automatically? Public, default, protected, or private? Be careful, you can cheat from the names. Public, default, protected, and private. If you understand my money example, because when my child asked me money, we have a default amount in our family. I was giving that default amount to him. So we are using default. From its name, you can answer default means by definition. Okay. At the beginning, we set a value. This is default. So that variable is assigned as a public modifier. If we don't write here anything, it means it is default. Yes, it has default access modifier. So who can use this variable if it is default? Only No, public is used by everyone. You forget? Yeah, you need to revise, right? Okay, no problem. And Mr. Muhittin, yes, Mr. Muhittin, well done. You have a question? Let me ask. Mr. Muhittin said, let me try to see the question. Quotation mark between values. Aren't we supposed to put quotation marks between these values? He asks. This is, we are going to learn tomorrow in details. It is applied for only string values. If we are dealing with numerical values, we write them plain like this. Okay? For numerical values, no quotation mark, no single quotation mark. Okay. This is the end for today. If you have questions, you can keep asking me. I will stop recording.